Hi students, hope you all are fine. Children, today we are going to start a new lesson or a new chapter from our supplementary reader textbook Footprints Without Feet. The title of the chapter is The Thief's Story. Actually, it was written by Ruskin Bond, who was a famous writer. So today we are going to learn that lesson from scratch. Okay. So the thief story. Actually, children, this story tells us about how a person or how a man transformed a thief from his wrong ways. Okay, so we have two important characters in this story. The first one is Anil, a young man, and the second one is Hari Singh, the thief. So these two characters play an important role in the story. I'm going to read the lesson. When I read the textbook, you should follow the lines. First paragraph starts like this. I was still a thief when I met Anil, and though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. So here the thief himself speaks to us. He says that I was still a thief when I met Anil. We have already discussed that Anil is the central character of the story. Actually, he plays an important role in the story. So here the thief says that I was still a thief when I met Anil. So when I met Anil, I was a thief. I was still a thief. And though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. He says that I was an adept in the art of stealing. Actually, he was at the age of 15 or he was about 15. He was an experienced and fairly successful hand. He was very experienced in the art of stealing. He was an adept person in that art. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow, and he looked easygoing, kind, and simple enough for my purpose. So, when I approached Anil, when I approached him, actually he was watching a wrestling match. So Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25, a tall, lean fellow, and he looked easygoing, kind, and simple enough for my purpose. Actually, in this sentence, the narrator gives a clear picture or a concrete picture about the what we can say about the physical appearance or the behavior of that person. So he says that he was about 25. That means Anil was a young man, a tall, lean fellow. Actually, he was a tall man and a lean fellow, and he looked easygoing, kind, and simple enough for my purpose. Actually, my purpose was to steal. So when I met Anil, when I saw him, I suddenly realized that, I recognized that this is the person I was looking for. Actually, he was very careless. I hadn't had much luck of late and thought I might be able to get into the young man's confidence. So, when I saw him, I recognized and I realized that he was the exact person I was looking for. So I approached him. You look a bit of a wrestler yourself, I said. A little flattery helps in making friends. So I tried to start a conversation with him, with Anil. We have to say some sugary words to them. Okay, so I tried to start a conversation with Anil. So do you? He replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. So he reacted. He answered to my question. So do you? He replied. Actually, you also look like a bit of a wrestler. So do you? He replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. Okay, so well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. What's your name? Harrison. I lied. So Anil asked the thief's name. He said to Anil that his name was Hari Singh. I lied. The thief says to us that actually Hari Singh was not my real name. I just lied to him. I took a new name every month that kept me ahead of the police and my former employers. So I took a new name every month. Every month I will take a new name because that kept away, kept me ahead of the police and my former employers. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestlers who were grunting, he lifting and throwing each other about. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. Okay, after this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestlers who were grunting. What does the word grunting means? Making a low, inarticulate sound. So I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. So here he said that I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. My first attempt to make a conversation with him or uh, to make a friendship with him has failed. So, hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I want to work for you, I said, but I can't pay you. I just said that I want to work for you. So he replied that he can't pay me. He can't pay me. Okay, so I thought that for a minute. Perhaps I had misjudged my man. I asked, can you feed me? Can you cook? I took the wrong person to steal. I asked, can you feed me? So I asked my second question, that was, can you feed me? Can you give food? Can you give me food? So, can you cook? He uh, answered with another question. That is, what was that? Can you cook? Can you cook for me? Okay, I can cook. I lied again. I lied second time. Okay, so I said I can cook. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. So he said that, okay, then if you can cook for me, then I can feed you. He took me to his room over the Jamna sweet shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. But I just hung around, smiling in my most appealing way, and he couldn't help laughing. So he took me to his room over the Jamna sweet shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. At last, he took me to his room, to where he resides. So it was in Jamna sweet shop. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. So we know that Hari Singh does not have any previous experience. Why did Hari Singh say that it was very terrible? Because he saw Anil gave it to a stray dog. What does the word stray means here? Wander. Okay, so to a stray dog and told me to be off. and he said to me that actually you don't even know the basics of cooking, so I can't afford you. Okay, I can't give a job to you, I can't pay you, or even I can't give you food. But I just hung around, smiling in my most appealing way, and he couldn't help laughing. But I was not ready to leave him. Later, he patted me on the head and said, "Never mind, he would teach me to cook." He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. So, actually, as I planned, I created a friendship. I intentionally created a healthy relationship with Anil. So later, he patted me on the head and said, "Never mind, he would teach me to cook." So Anil said to me, said to the thief, that is Hari Singh, that don't be sad, I will teach you how to cook. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. So he taught me how to write my name, and he also said that what he said, that he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. He said to me that he will teach me how to write whole a complete sentence and how to add numbers also. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. So I was very grateful. I was very grateful to him, because I know that if I get education, I can achieve whatever I need. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supplies, usually making a profit of about a rupee a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. So it was quite pleasant working for Anil. So when I worked for Anil, I felt very happy. I felt much happiness in doing all these things. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supply. So I would make tea for Anil, and after that I will go to the grocery shop to buy supplies. Here supplies means groceries. Okay, for my home, usually making a profit of about a rupee a day. So whenever I went to buy groceries, I will make a profit of 1 rupee per day. That means I will take 1 rupee whenever I went to the shop. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. Actually, I realized that, or I recognized that he knew that I was making a small profit. Anil made money by fits and starts. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next. He kept worrying about his next check, but as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazines, a queer way to make a living. So here says that Anil made money. How Anil made money? By fits and starts. What is the word fits and starts means here? തട്ടിയും മുട്ടിയും എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക, മുന്നോട്ട് പോവുക. That means fits and starts. Okay, so he would borrow 1 week, lend the next. Whenever he kept worrying about his next check, but as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. Check delays, he will become very nervous, but when he get that check, he will just go and celebrate with his friends. It seems he wrote for magazines. Actually, Anil was a writer. Actually, he writes for magazines. A queer way to make a living. Here, the thief Hari Singh says that writing is a queer way. What is the word queer means? Queer means here strange. Actually, it was a strange way to make money for living. Okay, so children, today we have discussed some paragraphs from this chapter, the thief story. I hope you all would have understood what we have learned here today. So thank you children, thank you for watching, have a great day.